What? He's gone. He could go all the way.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
We talking about practice.
You play to win the game.
Playoffs?
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't intramurals.
So, Lucas, thanks so much for joining us. We're really excited. First time we've interviewed some former NFL and college players, but this is our first go round with somebody who's active in the NFL. So super excited about that. We always kind of just kick things off. Would just, kind of know a little bit briefly about you, little playing history in college, little playing history in the NFL, and kind of where you're at today.
So I guess the short version of this will be, grew up in Nashville, went to Brentwood High School, 3-year letterman. I don't know if they still use that term anymore, but grew up in Tennessee, so I was a big fan of Tennessee football, and the offensive coordinator at that time when they were really humming with Peyton Manning, and was David Cutcliffe, and he took the job at Duke in 2008. And during their recruitment, had quite a few full rides, but if somebody was going to, give me the opportunity to go to a school like Duke and get to play for what I thought was a legendary coach, took that opportunity and I showed up there and spent 5 years. And when I first got there, the program wasn't necessarily in the most competitive state, but by the time my class left, we had been out of my four out of my 5 years, went to a bowl game and competed in the ACC Championship, played in the Peach Bowl. It's really ended on a high note. And then after that, I was undrafted tryout player to the Green Bay Packers. Spent 6 years there. Then I followed that up with 2 years in Chicago with the Bears. After that season, went to the down in New Orleans, went there, and then just last year finished with the Bengals. So had that all up. That's 10 years in the NFL, 5 in college, and then including freshman year, 4 in high school football. So I've been doing this for, I guess you could say, 19 years.
Wow. Well, that's quite the journey in the NFL. What do they say? The average NFL career is 3-4 years. So almost double the average is a heck of an NFL career. Is there, throughout those 10 years, is there a big highlight or kind of standout moment for you?
Probably the year that we were in the NFC Championship and we ended up playing the Buccaneers at home. We lost the game, but just to be one of the last 4 teams standing in a pinnacle position and starting, that was pretty cool. I'm always grateful for my time with the Bears and being a free agent addition with a new head coach, new GM, and then bringing me in, and things didn't necessarily go as planned on the field, but was able to have my first daughter in Chicago, born there, and what a memorable time. But I've been very fortunate to play with historic programs. There's a really cool podcast. I know we're on one right now, but Acquired, and they did a history of the NFL, and I'm proud to say I've been a part of kind of what I would say 4 of the original franchises of the early NFL. 2 really being the originators. The Bengals have the history of moving from being Cleveland to now Cincinnati, and then New Orleans, I think, started in like 67, 64. I don't know if I had that exactly right, but very blessed to play with 4 historic franchises that have numerous Hall of Famers and great stadiums and amazing fans.
Super cool.
Yeah. So when you came out of college and you got in the NFL, what was your kind of welcome to the NFL moment?
I've told this story a lot to like friends and buddies. Haven't really put it out there, but I'll tell it to you. So my first year I was on the practice squad. So there's 53 guys on the active. And then my rookie year, I think we were allowed 10 guys. So you just practice and you're kind of the look team. And we had a two really good edge players in Green Bay my rookie year, in Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers. Julius Peppers is a Hall of Famer now. And I had a play where I was at left guard and I pulled and was supposed to block Julius Peppers. And I'm thinking this is going to be my shining moment. And I put everything I had into that block, and he won the block. And then he was also going probably, I think at this time when I was there in 16, he was probably in year 12 to 13. And just a mountain of a human, a gentle giant, really nice, great leader, did all his work. But yeah, he got the best of me. And that's when I quickly learned there's a difference between first round talents and future Hall of Famers and myself.
So did you get blown up on the play, or did he just, what was?
I didn't get blown up, but I got folded. It was a classic like counter action where I'm pulling and kicking out and we're supposed to run it, and he just set the edge on me, and that was that. And it's practice. So as a practice squad player, you learn how to practice, and Julius is going to take multiple shots in a game, so you don't want to go game speed or cut or do anything that would be considered dirty and jeopardize him for Sunday, but you still want to give a good look, go to good speed. So I was going at a good speed, and it wasn't good enough. He's a very good player, and there's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
It was pretty fun to have although it didn't work out for you, pretty fun to have that kind of welcome to the league moment with future Hall of Famer and incredible player.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate on some of the teams I've been a part of. I can say that I've played with quite a few. I've played long enough that there are guys who are in the Hall of Fame that I've been teammates with, and wouldn't even call myself really good friends with some of those guys. It's just big teams, and every team has its own dynamic with how people interact. But just to be on the field and witness someone like Julius, or Clay Matthews in his right, or Aaron Rodgers, and even this year with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and so many teammates that I can say that I think can contend for that. And like another one for the Saints, like Cam Jordan, who's the all-time sack leader for the Saints, and got to interact with those guys. So feel very blessed to witness some of these guys and interact and maybe take some tidbits from them.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool you learned a lot from them.
Yeah.
So speaking of learning a lot, so what is the drill that you did the most and you kind of didn't like it, but it still made you really good?
I would say early on in my career, really through college and into the early parts of the NFL, lateral quickness and adjusting to these D linemen it's a huge learning curve. So we've got a drill that most O-linemen do, even all the way down to like Pee Wee football is when I did it. And it's called, there's a bunch of ways to say it, but mirror drill, where, if I'm here, there's another guy across from me, and we call him the rabbit, and he just can go back and forth as much. And I just have to stay in front of him, and with a nice low hips and center of gravity, and staying connected to the ground, and not picking up my feet too high, staying really nice and low to the ground. And it burns your hips, burns your glutes, and it's just not it's not a fun drill even when we do it at the NFL level. It's not easy, but it's one of those day one fundamentals that I'll do, and I started doing it the last few years as I've gotten older in my career, is going back to my day one fundamentals. And so in pre-practice, I'll do that, without a rabbit or someone across from me, but just kind of get my feet going and feel a little burn in the legs. But it's a drill that I'll tell you, any young kid who's playing a sport with multi-directional movement or lateral movement, if you're playing basketball and playing defense, it'd be a good one to learn. If hockey, tennis, all that, you can do that. But yeah, that's the one drill that I will not ever let leave.
Yeah. You mentioned just a little bit of the welcome to the league moment, and then the focus on the fundamentals with the lateral drill. What's the biggest difference in defending a college player versus an NFL D end or defensive lineman, linebackers?
Mm-hmm. I would say the biggest difference is the margin for error. So in college, the margin for error is, say it's here, but in the NFL, it with each step, it gets closer and closer. And then on Sundays, it's a half-inch step off, and you can look like you don't know what you're doing. So the NFL, it really is who can execute their fundamentals within the play the most efficient way. They're typically going to win. There's a few guys like I've gone against Aaron Donald and um, Ndamukong Suh, Akeem Hicks, Vita Vea, some really high talent. Kenny Clark, who I got to practice with for 6 years, like some really high level guys who the way God created them gave them a little extra juice. So you really have to be on your P's and Q's, but the margin for error is so small in the NFL, and the big plays that you see made is typically somebody missing by a half step or their eyes are in the wrong place. And while it's exciting when you're the guy who lets up the play or lets up the sack, it's typically or at least in the offensive line realm, it's like, what did I do wrong to let him win? So that's probably the toughest part about transitioning to the NFL is every rep is the most important rep. Where not to say I wasn't locked in college, but there's a greater margin for error. You're going to class all week. You're not as fully focused on the game plan as you are in the NFL, and that leads to just a little greater margin.
It's interesting. I never knew it was. I knew it was somewhat different, not that much different with the margin for error. So moving on, who is the toughest player you've ever played with and against?
Like toughest player I've ever played with. Are you saying like to block, or like the toughest player who I've like been on offense with, or like as to scout against? Because I can go a couple different ways with that if you
Like
want me
just
to,
in
Dylan.
general, like maybe
Okay.
toughest teammate you knew, or maybe you blocked with, or
Mm, I'll go with an interesting. So I'll highlight one of my running backs I got to block for, Alvin Kamara. I really thought he was one of the tougher backs I've ever seen defenses try to stop. The year that we were down there, Clint Kubiak, who's now the head coach for the Raiders, was our offensive coordinator, and he's a brilliant mind and put us as players into great positions. But a lot of the run schemes are hat on a hat to advantageous looks, or like, say I'm playing, like I played left guard that season and we have a tight end to the left side. You have the center, left guard, tackle, tight end. You got four guys. We would like to run to a four-man surface or four defenders on that side. That's a lot of his offense is checking into the right play and then let's go. But when we would have bad numbers or not the best look, we felt confident in Alvin making someone miss. And he was pretty good at that. I mean, there's a few games that I remember where he squirted through a few holes that Dylan, I don't know if you could have made it through those. They were small, and he made it through, and then he'd make a guy miss, and next thing you know, we're chasing him to the end zone. So it's really fun to play with those type of teammates. I think Devontae Adams is another one who's really tough to defend. And to get into the weeds of how games are played is, like we played the LA Rams, who have a wonderful, awesome D line, and Aaron Donald's there and all that. But because the matchup with Devontae on their best corner was advantageous towards us, and they had to change some things, it made our job up front handling, I think, the best player in modern football, Aaron Donald. Like, okay, we can do this because we've got somebody on the edge, and that kind of segues me into, I think the hardest player I've ever played against is Aaron Donald. His body control is elite. His play style, he plays aggressive. He didn't take plays off. He played the run. He played the pass. Um, and Dylan, what made it so tough is most D linemen in the NFL, you're looking 6'2" to 6'6", and 285 would be light on the interior D line. 285 to could be 350. Whereas Aaron, I'd have to look up his exact stats, but he's probably 6'2", 258 to 270, somewhere in there. Like I don't know his exact weight, but he was like a ball of muscle, like a quadricep or bicep. And so the surface area was really small to block him, and he was so good with his hands, and he's a very smart player. So there's like two categories. You can be like a smart player. Like I try to be a smart player. I know my rules. I know how to adjust to them. And then there's kind of your instinctual players who just have this weird feel like, hey, I know where to be and how to be there. Aaron Donald had both of those, and that made it really tough to block him. But, when you have other really good players like Devontae going against somebody and they got to put two guys over top of them, it kind of voids out certain places, or, we can know where they're blitzing. So, hey, we can cheat this. Like they'll probably get a blitz away from him and slide to Aaron. So, I would say hopefully that answers the question. I can get a little long-winded.
Yeah. Didn't Aaron Donald retire like 2022?
I know. Let's see here. They won the Super Bowl in 21.
22 then, because I remember he retired.
And then, yeah, I think he retired after that next season, which a lot of us interior offensive linemen were not mad that he retired. But of course, the GM over there reloaded that defensive line in a great way, and they still have a bunch of great players. But there's not too many Aaron Donalds walking around this planet.
Yeah, I get that. He was a phenomenal player.
Yeah, you look at the Super Bowl. He made the play to win the game. I mean, there's a saying that we say a lot in the NFL is like, be at your best when your best is needed. And you need your best players to be that. And he did that at the end of that game to get that sack and kind of caused the Bengals to be in a more desperate situation than what they wanted to be.
Yeah. Awesome. So, moving on. What is the teammate that never let you or anyone else give up?
For me to single out one teammate is tough because there's in numerous different times in my career, I've had a bunch of teammates who have picked me up and carried me along the way. But I'll give one good example, and another future first bound Hall of Famer was Aaron Rodgers. In my second season in Green Bay, I had just done the whole year on practice squad, which is a great entryway in the league, and I would never change it. But it's very hard to jump from that to the active roster, and then from the active roster to a starter, and it can look like a mountain sometimes. But he sat me down during my second camp, and I was feeling pretty low on myself and dejected of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't, man, I had 1 year in the NFL. That's great. And he really encouraged me to believe in myself. He gave me some advice of being kind to myself because I was maybe a little too hard on myself and expecting a lot. And that's part of the NFL is you have to put certain expectations on yourself to reach. But there's dreams like, Dylan, if I was your age, thinking I would be where I'm at right now, I would, think that's insane. But yeah, he was one of the teammates who really encouraged me, told me to be kind to myself, believe in myself, and words that he said are, if you can play for me, you can play for anyone. And he was right. He'd seen it, he'd done it. At that time, he's probably in year 12, 10 to 12, maybe 12 to 13. So he knew what he was talking about, and his words carried a lot of weight, not only because of his play, but because of the teammate he was, because of how long he had been doing it and how many guys he'd seen. So I'll give kudos to him, but I could go through probably a list of 15 teammates that have encouraged me, and I've been very blessed to be around some really good locker rooms.
What a cool story. I mean, everybody needs somebody to believe in them and keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
All right. So this one's an interesting one. So if you could trade any athlete for one game in their sport in all of history, which athlete would you choose?
Ooh. That's a good question. My first instinct is to probably go with the golf. I'm a big golfer. I love doing that. But my wife played tennis in college, and watching her through her work, through some stuff she's gotten to do with her job, working in the tennis world. I think it'd be so sweet to like swap with Roger Federer. The grace and elegance he plays with, and also I think it's very interesting, a sport that is played across all continents. I love football. I think it's the greatest team sport. The lessons you can learn are fantastic, but I know nothing about individual sports, and I know nothing about competing against somebody from Russia to New Zealand to France to Mexico to Spain to Norway, like everywhere. You look at some of these grand slams in tennis, and you'll see countries that, like, wow, that's amazing for that guy to make it all the way to here. So I think swapping with Roger Federer would be sweet. He just, the way he was as a player, I think a lot of people should emulate how he carried himself and how he competed.
And a first-class individual. I mean,
Yes.
what a guy.
I mean, I'm not much of a tennis person. Can you kind of give me the gist on Roger Federer?
I guess I'm Dylan. I did not know a lick of tennis until I met my wife. So we were in the same boat. So trust me. But Roger played the game in a very classy way. He was like a gentleman on the court and a gentleman off, but he played in a way that was like the essence of tennis. Like I would equate it to like how Jordan played basketball. It was the essence of how basketball should be played. Competitive, tough, but yet calculated with his shots and bringing his team up. Whereas like Roger, he just has a beautiful stroke with his racket and always seemed to come up in the biggest moments and kept his calm, kept his cool. And it was just so beautiful to watch. And his yeah, I'm still new to the tennis world, so I may not even be doing Roger justice, but he's a guy that has really pulled me into the sport, and I wish I'd known about him earlier before, really only watching him for maybe 18 months to 2 years. So I kind of caught the back end of his run, but man, he was so exciting to watch.
That's awesome. Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should look him up.
We'll have to look him up and
Yeah.
check out some highlights. I mean, he won, I don't know, 20 plus Grand Slam events. He's a legend.
Yeah.
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 Oh, this is another fun one. So, which NFL player would you want, past or present, to be your like sidekick in a movie?
Who? Oh man, past or present? I mean, Broadway Joe. That would be awesome. But I gotta go with an O lineman just because, you know, I gotta stick up for my guys. Let me really think about this one. Who are some guys like I mean, Jason Kelsey would just be fantastic, and I've gotten some comments when I've been out in the NFL world. People say I look like his brother, so that would be kind of fun. Maybe we could do a Step Brothers movie. Sidekick.
I was gonna say
I've got a team.
that's kind of superhero / comedy with the Kelsey boys.
Yeah, I've got a teammate of mine who I just think he's the most interesting human. William Turner. We all call him Billy. I love my time with him in Green Bay, and he's so creative, and um, he would be fun. Golly, that's I'm gonna say Jason Kelsey just because I think he'd be a funny but fun, almost like. Do you like Ant-Man or like that kind of like action hero where it's like it's definitely action and stuff and like superhero, but it's got a little bit of comedy and kind of lightheartedness.
Yeah.
Dylan, who would your sidekick be?
I mean, so I don't really know too much about a lot of NFL players' personalities. So I would just pick a player who I really like and I would like to maybe meet. And he's my favorite player, Christian McCaffrey.
That's a good one.
He seems like a nice guy. I don't know too much about his personality, but I think he'd be fun to do with.
So his oldest brother was teammates with me at Duke, Max McCaffrey. He's coaching now, and I can go ahead and tell you that is a good favorite player to pick because the McCaffreys are great human beings. Their dad, Ed, was a star for the Broncos for a long time, but they do it right. Christian is he's a good one to look up to, and he's a phenomenal player. He'd be like Superman. He does it all. I mean, what can he do in a game?
Yeah,
you could probably put him at free safety, and he'd be pretty good.
I mean, I'm a Niners fan. Everybody's getting injured, and we have Christian McCaffrey. Like, he's about to be he was on the top 10 for receiving yards.
Yeah, no, he's
receiving yards on our team. I was like, and rushing yards.
He's one of those players that if he's on your team, you need to get him the ball at least 20 times a game. Doesn't matter how. And I know I've been in similar systems to what they run in the Niners, and I can bet Kyle Shanahan feels the exact same way. As many times as I can get Christian the ball, that's good for the Niners.
Yep. He's a phenomenal athlete. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is also a good one. So, if you could replay a down that you played from all of history, what happened and what would you change?
Like in
your career.
You saying any playing football like history or any playing my football history?
Any playing your football history.
I can go pretty quick on that one. 2021, we lost in the divisional round to your team, the Niners, on a 13-10 when they blocked the punt, and I gave up a sack in the red zone against Eric Armstead. I would love to go back and not give that sack up, but if I don't give that sack up, maybe we stay in field goal range, and you never know what happens. But it's the beauty of the sport is I get to learn from that, and that's a memory. But that's one play because we were the number 1 seed, and the Niners were coming in, and they beat us in the divisional round. That was my last play or my last game as a Green Bay Packer. So that was a tough pill to swallow.
That is a tough one. I'll take the other side of that. If just being on the field, if you could be on the field for any down in NFL history, is there one play as you look back across the ages, you're like, man, that'd have been a hell of a play to be a part of?
I mean, wow. That's, there's the immaculate reception.
Which one's that?
That is it's like the Steelers. Is it Steelers Cowboys? Steelers.
I know it's the Steelers. Was it Franco Harris?
Yeah, it was Franco Harris. Who are they playing? I forget who they are playing, but basically what happens is the ball gets thrown, it gets knocked off like a helmet into the air, and Franco Harris grabs it and runs the other way for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it was an interception?
Yeah. No, I think
no.
The quarterback threw it. It got bounced up. Franco Harris grabbed it. It was a playoff game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a playoff game. So it was just this big, wild play that became famous, and they called it the Immaculate Reception because it was kind of like a miracle.
That would be
God.
I mean, that's just such a famous play. It'd be cool to be an O lineman in that experience. I think the beast mode quake thing when what was it Seahawks? Were they playing the Saints? They might have been.
What happened?
Beast mode, Marshawn Lynch. I mean, he ran through the whole team twice, essentially, like just bouncing off tackles, and it was so loud. So Lumen, I think it's called Lumen Field now. I don't know, or CenturyLink. Lumen, no, it's Lumen Field now, where the Seahawks play. It was so loud it registered on the Richter scale or something, like a small earthquake. So that would be cool. I mean, I've been on the field, but on the sidelines for a few Aaron Rodgers Hail Marys.
Oh, cool.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's so tough to pin that down just because there's so many plays in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
I think to choose one would be an injustice to all the amazing plays.
Fair.
I mean, mine, again, not to be too biased, but I think it was a sick play. I would love to be part of the catch.
Yeah.
The Cowboys one.
Mm-hmm.
That's I'm a hometown Dallas guy. You're gonna take that catch on me?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, a little in-house rivalry. That's good.
Yeah, that's right. Here you go.
All right. Oh, this was also good. Got a lot of good questions.
You do.
So if one of your teammates got the mic, what would they roast you for?
Oh, well, I think now my teammates know me as I'm like dad energy or dad mode, which you got to think, Dylan, like there's like a, like I've got teammates who were born in after the year of 2000, and I was born in 93, which isn't that old, I don't think, but in my profession to get to, as long as I've played, I'm old. So they roast me about, like, I'm wearing it now, pretty much what I wear, quarter zip, golf hats, and kind of no swag. They'd roast me about that. I don't have the best running form, I'm a try-hard white guy, so I don't look the most athletic. So maybe roast me on maybe picking my knees up when I run.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I like this one. So what song that you listen to like pregame that kind of puts you in the beast mode?
Going back to my roots as a 90s kid, I love Creed. Creed's awesome, but as I've gotten older in the league, I've kind of changed my music that I listen to before games. Kind of stay a little more relaxed and chill. Just don't want to get too hype, actually. Like this year, I listened to a lot of Zach Top, Luke Combs, Ryan Bingham. He's good. Let's see here. But like definitely back in the day, my favorite song was like Higher by Creed. I mean, it's, even when I'm working out in the off season, if I got a big squat day, I'll put on some Creed or some Audio Slave, kind of some grungy rock music.
I love that.
You got any beast mode songs?
Not necessarily.
You don't have a song that gets you hype?
I listen to rap, but it's more calm-ish.
Is it? What's your current favorite rap song?
Safari by Tyler, the Creator.
Tyler, the Creator. All right.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
All right.
That's something you can add to roasting is my music taste. I don't know half the songs that are played in locker rooms now. It's getting bad.
So what's one locker room moment that you'll tell your grandkids about?
Ooh. Let's see here. There's so many. Maybe the moments are like when we won divisions, like getting the division championship, we call them hat and t-shirt games because you get a hat and a t-shirt and you're in the locker room taking photos and stuff. But most of the stories that I'll share were like the in between camp when you're exhausted and you're like laying on the locker room floor and you're just kind of chopping it up with the boys and making fun of each other. And that's what, what most of the stories will come out about, or one of my teammates did this as a prank or stuff like that, like putting stink bombs in someone's locker or rearranging their whole locker on like 30 minutes before practice so that their helmet's in the wrong spot and they're freaking out. So I'll probably tell them those stories of just the times where we were just loose and having fun. I mean, Dylan, I like to say this. I may play in the NFL and look like an adult, but I've pretty much acted the same as I've acted since like 17. So, we're all getting in the locker room, and all of us have, if you're in the NFL, you haven't really entered a traditional workplace environment. So when you're hanging out in the locker room, you can kind of just let it fly and hang out. And so that's those are the stories I'll probably tell.
Well, the big secret is we're all just little kids pretending to be adults anyway.
We are. You definitely learn that once you have kids.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I guess the question that I have for you, you talked about being an undrafted free agent, being on the practice squad, getting a great pep talk from Aaron Rodgers, along with some other mentors that you had along the way. What advice would you have for Dylan in regards to perseverance and grit and your, kind of mindset to be able to achieve a 10 plus year career in the NFL?
Mm-hmm. My biggest advice to both Dylan, you at the age you're at right now, and even to the young guys who I got, is don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no question that's dumb. And I know everyone says that, and that's an advice that I think gets thrown around a little flippantly. But if you're willing to come about things and like Dylan, you're this age, but at a young kid's mindset of like, well, I don't know. Let me just ask the question. There's typically people who have gone ahead of you and have been in a similar situation. And if you ask the right questions or get to the right people, you kind of get to stand on their shoulders. And what I mean by that is they've gone through some hard things or done some hard things. You can learn from that. And then when I say stand on their shoulders, you get to start from this uncertain phase, maybe a foot above whatever the junk is. And so that's one thing that I think is so important. And then the other thing, which I'm still doing, trying to play another year, is dream. Don't be afraid to dream. There's no dream that's too wild. Because the beauty about this job, what I've realized is if you dream it, you can do it, but you have to put your mind to it.
Yeah.
But the moment you start letting me be like, well, I don't know if I can do that, or I even said it earlier, if you had told me at 9, because you're 9, right?
Yeah.
If you had told me at 9 I'd be 32 and just finished my 10th year in the NFL with a wonderful life, I mean, the only way that can happen is God, but it's crazy. But I had the dream and I chased it. And
Yeah.
the beauty of that is when you let dreams grow and grow as you keep going, they become this awesome, beautiful thing of you get to turn around and say like, wow, I went after that and I chased that. So those would be my two big things. Is never be afraid to ask the question. And it's I know it sounds simple, but that really is kind of life, like doing simple things over and over again and becoming a better person, becoming a better man, and then dream the dream. Like if you want to go do something, dream it. Like I achieved my dream and that's amazing, but it's not about what it looks like on paper. I've become a better husband and father because of the dream that
Yeah.
I was able to live out. I feel like I've become a better person, better friend. And that's really the end goal of all this is to, and I know it's kind of tough to understand now, maybe at your age, but if you're willing to pursue something awesome, the journey along the way is really the prize, not the end goal.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Dylan, any other questions for Lucas before we get to your last one?
No, not particularly.
All right. Well, let's ask him our.
Well, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're not at school?
Play football.
Play football? What position?
So I had been doing wide receiver
Uh-huh.
and I was doing okay at it. I just wanted to change it. And our starting Q was out last game. So I started Q and I did pretty good. I won us the game.
Nice.
That was fun. I had fun playing that position. Maybe just get a stronger arm because I can't throw too far. But
Well, the good part is
Good
that
try.
comes.
Yeah, that comes. This kid just loves being on the field, he's always got a football in his hand, wants to talk round the clock about football, what's going on in the NFL. So
yeah,
that was really the impetus of the podcast is, well, it started because he was like, I want to meet Christian McCaffrey. I was like, let's just start interviewing folks. And I was like, we'll work our way there. I was like, I don't know if it's in 12 months or 36 months, but I was like, the sweet part to your mention about, the process in between is, man, we're just going to talk to people about playing ball and what their experience is. And that's what he loves to do. So the podcast has been a great outlet for that. Is like, let's talk about ball. I want to think about ball. I want to go outside and play ball. I want to talk about it. So it's been a ton of fun.
yeah,
The best thing about football, and why I said it's the greatest team sport, is, we've never been on a team together. We've never encountered, really before this, but this sport brings people together from so many different backgrounds, and the commonalities coming together for one goal of winning. And that's my favorite thing about this sport. I've seen it connect so many people just like us today. And you know what, if you want to get CMC on, just keep hammering at it. And,
yeah.
next thing you know, you might have the biggest podcast for a kid at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. We'll keep on taking one step at a time, but like you said, follow the dream. So
Yeah.
we'll keep on putting in the work. I guess that being said, Dylan, do you want to ask the last one?
Yeah. So which teammate of yours should we interview and next and why?
Let me think of that. Have you had any specialists or kickers?
Nope.
They're a niche. To speak about our sport, it's crazy to think that kickers are on the same team as offensive linemen, the same as cornerbacks and quarterbacks. So I've got a really good buddy of mine, Mason Crosby. He's the all-time leading scorer for one of the oldest franchises in the NFL in Green Bay. He's recently retired, but he played for a long time. He's kicked in a Super Bowl, won one.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Let's see here, Nolan. His son is Nolan 12 now? But he's got a son, and great perspective on life. And one of my teammates who's picked me up ever since the beginning.
Yeah.
So I would say him. That would be a really good podcast. He's got great life advice, and he's also just kind of a fun guy to hang out with.
Very cool.
That's cool.
Did he go to Oklahoma State? Is he Oklahoma State?
He's a Colorado buff.
Colorado buff. Yeah, I was trying to remember.
He just went into the Hall of Fame for Colorado this year.
Oh, super
Nice.
cool. That's awesome. Well, Lucas, we sure appreciate your time and carving out some time for us today, especially with 2 little ones dancing around. But we appreciate it. It's been really a fantastic opportunity for us to get and visit with you and hear about your experience in the NFL. And we'll be excited to see you on the field next year. And just awesome that we've had this interview and get to watch you, play next year. Will be super cool.
Well, I enjoyed it myself, and this is one of the coolest parts about my job is I get to do really fun things and meet new people and kind of share my life. So I feel very blessed to have the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was awesome having you. You were a joy to be here. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
He's gone. He couldn't go all the way.
But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
We talking about practice.
You play to win the game.
Playoffs?
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's the